Hey, what's going on, everyone? I figure we're a week into April at this point, and if my TBR is going to get done, it's got to be now. So I haven't missed one yet, I don't think, since my return to BookTube after the hiatus, and I don't plan on starting to now. So we're getting it done today, but before we get into the 7 books, pour one out for my beard. I had to shave this past like couple days, and yeah, it's been kind of weird. I don't know. So, anyways, let's get started. I have a lot of philosophy books this time for whatever reason. We got a couple of like buddy reads going on in the philosophy Discord that I run. So if any of these sound interesting to you, definitely check that one out down below. So I guess let's start off with the one that seems to have the most interest in. It's A.C. Grayling's The History of Philosophy. And this is a general overview of most of Western philosophy as well as some Eastern traditions as well. I think it came out about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's kind of like the go-to book on people looking into getting like kind of just a broad overview, like a history, of philosophical traditions and whatnot. I've read the first unit so far, which covers the introduction and the ancient philosophies of like the Greco-Roman period, which is probably like my favorite. We'll just like face it there, but I did really enjoy it. I love his analogies and kind of like the metaphors and imagery that he uses. And like I said, we started to start some discussions on this one, so I think this one will be a pretty big hit just because it's kind of a nice general overview of a lot of stuff and the ideas. Hopefully, once we start reading, we're going to take some ideas and thinkers, maybe some specific works, and do deeper dives on them afterwards. So like I said, if that sounds interesting, definitely check it out. Now, so for the monthly read, I've been picking a very short introduction, one of these Oxford BSI books each month to kind of just do a little short, little read, and some of us have been talking about them. And this month we're doing Medieval Philosophy by John Marenbon. I've only read the first chapter, which is actually, I think, like 6 pages. I want to say it's not 7 pages, so not very long. I didn't mind it. I do know John Marenbon has like a really prominent kind of like companion book for medieval history, medieval philosophy and stuff. So I've heard good things about the author. Like I said, I haven't read this one in particular. I will say medieval philosophy. I don't know. I feel like I have kind of the stereotypical I guess mindset where it's all just like arguing about angels on pinheads and stuff like that. So I'm hoping there's actually more to it than that. I'm kind of interested in seeing like some of the Jewish and Islamic philosophers like Averroes and Maimonides and stuff like that during this time period as well, because they're the ones that kind of kept the some of the Greek traditions going and stuff when it kind of stalled out in the West. So anyways, like I said, that's the Oxford BSI for this month. And then one more that's already kind of slated to start in a couple weeks is At the Existentialist Cafe, Freedom Being and Apricot Cocktails by Sarah Bakewell. And this was a pretty big hit about 10 years ago. And it's all about kind of the existentialist philosophers in the first half of the 20th century. So, Simone de Beauvoir, Sartre, and then some, others kind of thrown in there too as well, like, Camus and everything. So, this is existentialism is a topic I've only like briefly studied like in school and stuff, and it's one I kind of want to. I'm thinking about doing a deeper dive on, and I think this will be kind of a good primer on just getting a good biographical and philosophical outline sketch, I guess, of all like the major thinkers and players during this time period in this kind of school of thought. So that's kind of what the plan is there. And I think there's about 3 or 4 other people already kind of like interested and signed up for that one on the Discord as well. So that's the philosophy stuff. So apparently I just gotta like ramp up my philosophy reading in this month for whatever reason. Now there's also another event going on called People April that I would like to take part in, and it's all about reading biographies and memoirs. And I'm gonna leave a link to Elizabeth and Ross's channels down below where they talk about the announcement, everything like that. The one I'm definitely going to be reading is After the North Pole: A Story of Survival, Myth-Making, and Melting Ice by Erling Kage. And this is a Scandinavian explorer who him and his friend were the first people to use just human power to drag like a sled across the Arctic Circle to reach the North Pole. And I think they also did not use any like hidden cached like depots for food and water and all that kind of stuff like ahead of time. So, yeah, and it was in the early 90s. I want to say it was 93 if I remember off the top of my head. But I have seen him, I looked him up, I have seen him speak a little bit on YouTube and stuff. He seems like a really interesting, just kind of cool person, like with the whole, I don't know, like kind of philosophical musings, but also like the nature stuff and like the hard science as well. So I thought it sounded really cool. So I do want to thank Harper One for sending this one out as well. And apparently Soph approves, maybe, not 100%, I'm sure she's 100% sold on that one. And then one more, oh no, don't knock the camera over, oh no. She was thinking about it. We got There Is No Place for Us, Working and Homeless in America by Brian Goldstone. I do want to thank Crown for asking me to take a look at this book. So I've been in social work for quite a while, and this is a population I've actually worked with several, I can think of several different individuals and participants that I've worked with in the past that were working and homeless, which is just those two things. You shouldn't be able to be both at the same time, I feel, in the United States. So this is going to be definitely a deep look, journalistic take on kind of this, what causes this, why is it happening, what can we do about it, and all that kind of stuff. So this one's definitely going to be kind of a heavier, tough read, but it is something I'm like looking forward to in the sense that it's like relatable, I guess, to stuff that I've done in the past. And then one science book here. Actually, I guess the next one's pretty sciencey as well. We got White Light, The Elemental Role of Phosphorus in Our Cells, in Our Food, and in Our World by Jack Lohman. Thanks to Pantheon for sending me this one. So I wanted to start reading, I guess, books on like chemistry or some of the harder science besides like astronomy. I read tons of nature, tons of biology, tons of ecology, all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to, you know, physics and chemistry and even like astronomy, like I will say I do read some astronomy books every now and then, like my heart, those kind of sciences, I just don't read a lot on those like physical sciences. So that is something I want to address, and I figured this one looked pretty interesting. I don't know much about phosphorus other than like its use, like, you know, as part of like fertilizer and stuff for gardening and that kind of thing. So yeah, I feel hopefully this will be kind of like, hopefully has some basic chemistry primings kind of stuff in it as well. And then lastly is a gardening book, which, like I said, I'm going to try to come up with something. Not 100% sure. We'll see what happens. We got Jesse Frost's The Living Soil Handbook, the No-Till Grower's Guide to Ecological Market Gardening. So we have sold some cut flowers in the past. Well, I say in the past, last year, and we vaguely think about ramping that up and whatnot. Not 100% sure. So we have 3 gardens, and like I said, I want to try to do some gardening videos. If you have ideas on what you'd like in an outdoorsy garden book kind of video, let me know, because I am definitely struggling with that concept. It won't be for a little while because, unfortunately, unlike some lucky people who get to start their video going, wow, it's a sunny, beautiful, awesome day outside. I'm getting 7 inches of snow potentially, like overnight, and it's April, just so we're all clear, okay? So probably not happening until at least the middle of May. Is like, it's just mud for about 4 weeks. So even though a lot of our snow has melted, we're still getting some snow. It's like, you know, below freezing most nights. So anyways, this is all about no-till gardening, which is a method that I've been using for the past 3 seasons, I want to say. Which is basically, you know, you're not rototilling anything like under and whatnot. You're kind of using the same bed rows like over and over again for the most part. And it's something I've really enjoyed doing. So I want to kind of learn a lot of the hard science kind of stuff going into it. So lots of information. There's lots of photographs. There's some illustrations and diagrams and what have you and all that kind of thing. I have heard him speak on a couple of different like garden podcasts and stuff. I feel like it's funny because like on the story on Discord, everyone talks about all the history podcasts and stuff, but the only podcasts I listen to are actually gardening ones. So anyways, those are the books I'm going to try to get through in the month of April here. And like I said, if you like history, science, or philosophy, I think I feel like I said that wrong. Anyways, check out the Discords down below. There'll be something for everyone in those topics for sure. And whatever you end up reading, whether you've already finished it or not so far in April, always remember, read victoriously.